righty, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great Wednesday, a beautiful show on hand today. We got our Legends of the Fall tour kicking off, which means we are celebrating 50 years of Tampa Bay Buccaneers football in the 813. I cannot believe it's 50 seasons of Bucs ball. I remember yesterday growing up, everyone's still calling us a new franchise, this and that. Well, now here we are, halfway to a century. And what other way to celebrate than with a former Buccaneer himself? A great friend of the show, has been on before, so it's been awesome the first time. It's going to be just as fun the second time. Former Tampa Bay Buccaneer defensive lineman, former Indianapolis Colts defensive lineman, former Washington football team, we'll just say, defensive lineman, Redskins, Commanders, whatever the heck you want to call them, hard to keep score at home. And also Wolfpack Hall of Fame, Nevada, that is, member, the big game James himself, James Cannida. Mr. Cannida, how are we, sir?
Hey, what's up, man? Thanks. I'm great. Happy to be here, talk a little Buccaneers football and this NFL season. Yesterday was, 100 days away from kickoff, and the way they break everything down by numbers now blows my mind. But I'm like, God, no, 100 days out, now I can really start to get a little excited.
Yeah, it's at the point in the offseason where it feels like we finally turned the corner, where you have football in the near future. As James said, 100 days. Well, now today, 99 days. So the move is on. The count is on. You have voluntary training camps going on, a bunch of activities around the league going on. And what other way to celebrate 50 years with the Bucs team who might be able to compete and go deep into the playoffs? So we're excited to see what James Cannida has to say about the Bucs. We're also excited to see what he has to say about the Colts. We got a Colts perspective in the house as well, and we'll be talking about that. Sadly, the passing of Colts owner Jim Irsay hit us deeply a week ago, and so much more. So, James, just give us a quick plug a minute. As Richard said, it's like the Christmas countdown. I do agree with that. But James, where can the people keep up with you and your podcast and all that fun stuff?
Oh, man, I got a little bit of everything going on right now. My main show is Big Game Sports Buzz. You can find that on the Big Game Sports and Entertainment Network. And then during the football season, I try to buckle down a little bit more and do Games Pewter Perspective, which has its own YouTube channel, but also part of Big Game Sports and Entertainment Network. And I'm on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, anywhere you can find Apple Music, Spotify, anywhere you can find your favorite podcast. I try to tap into that platform, man.
Yeah, I love it. Your podcast is one of my favorites out there, specifically, but I like them all, but your Bucs pod is just great stuff and great knowledge. So we're going to go ahead and link that after we get done here, put it in the description. Because, who better to go to than a former Buccaneer himself on some Bucs news, knowledge, and scoop. So today's going to be really fun. As Brandon's here as well. J-Lo, Zach, how the hell we doing, fellas? J-Lo, we'll start with you.
Doing good, man. Doing good. Excited to have a former Buccaneer on, Mr. James Cannida. Pleasure to chop it up with you, talk some football, get to know you a little bit more. My first time meeting you. Can't wait to talk to you, man.
Joey, how we doing? Before Zach jumps in, we'll get the Colts guy in there. Joey, how the heck are you?
Absolutely doing good. An honor to be on a part of this one. And yeah, like you mentioned, I'm just interested to hear some things. I've been listening to Reggie Wayne today. A lot of former Colts talk on Jim Irsay and the patch he'll be wearing this year. So a lot of the focus and attention as we get into the start of voluntary minicamp. So good to be here with y'all.
Bucs by 30. How are you as always, sir?
Doing well. Excited for the show and looking forward to discussing some Bucs ball with you fellas.
Yeah, so James, we're going to get started here and we're going to kind of just rip the Band-Aid off and have fun here. Again, you are live on the Buccaneers if you're watching with former Buc Colt, Washington defensive lineman, big game James Cannida himself. So James, obviously the Bucs are celebrating 50. That's why we're having fun here. 50 years of Buc ball. It's our Legends of the Fall tour where we're going to have all past and present. Not all, that would take forever, but a lot of fun past and present members of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here on to give us a toast to 50, to celebrate 50. So James, what can you say with the Bucs celebrating 50 seasons to you. You were on them in the late 90s, early 2000s. They were about 20 years in, so at that time still kind of a newer franchise in the league.
Yeah.
Say you to see them reach 50 and celebrate 50 years.
It's crazy because I just hit 50 years old. So to stop and think that, damn, the Buccaneers were a brand new franchise same year that I was brought into this world and I end up playing for them. But, you know, you go back, the Buccaneers used to be the jokes on sitcoms and everything else. You used to hear people like, oh, my God, you might end up playing in Tampa. And to get down to Tampa when Tony Dungy took over with Monty Kiffin to build that defense up to make Tampa relevant, switching over from the creamsicle to the pewter, just, you know, a whole kind of regime change to see how things are going to put, I don't want to say put Tampa on the map because Tampa was on the map before all the wrong reasons, some would say, with some of those seasons, right? To be a part of that and to see the growth and the change and then, you know, what's going on now. It's just, I'm always excited and happy to say that I was a part of the growth of Tampa Bay Buccaneers football.
Yeah, you were literally the, you know, turning of the corner of the franchise. That's when the franchise really started to shift gears, was in that mid to late 90s period. Obviously, Coach Dungy was an integral part of that as well and helped out greatly, as you alluded to in the past, kind of some dark days at points between ownership and coaches and Bucs history. You know, we won't name owners, but let's just say fumbled the Doug Williams situation, fumbled the Bo Jackson situation, fumbled pretty much everything in the existence of the Bucs to that point. So we're here at 50. Zach, cheers to 50. What say you?
Yeah, I'd like to know. So you came into the franchise right around the changing of the tides, so to speak, and a change in leadership can always be kind of a difficult transition for some, especially those guys that were there before the regime change. So did you experience anything like guys kind of pushing back against the new direction with, you know, that's not the way we do it here, we do it this way, and how Coach Dungy kind of navigated those waters?
It was actually kind of good for me because I came in, I believe that was Tony's second or third year in. So a lot of those guys from the Sam White era have kind of got weeded out. It was either like, this is how we do things, this is the standard. And so by the time I got drafted in 98, those dudes were gone. And we always had the term, you have to be able to play buck ball. And, you know, I came into camp, buck ball. What the hell is buck ball? But, you know, Rod Marinelli is the defensive line coach, and then Monty Kiffin, God rest his soul, as defensive coordinator, Herm Edwards, secondary coach, Lovie Smith. I mean, all these guys in that defensive side of the ball, and the standard they set for how we had to practice, let alone how it was going to carry over to a game to play. And for me, it was easy because that was the first thing I knew coming into the NFL. I didn't know another way. And it was very similar to how Chris Alt was at the University of Nevada. So it was like always full speed to the ball in practice. You're running, you're not taking plays off. You always want to be seen on film. And that was kind of the standard coming in. But, you know, I've getting older and seeing other guys at games or events and other things, and they tell stories like how they came to training camp, and the first time they did pursuit drill, it was like, yo, wait a minute, we do this every day? They're like, yeah, every day. We call my agent, tell him I got to get out of here. I'm too old to be running like this on the football field. But for me, it was a standard. Like, I had no other way of knowing. I thought everyone did that in the NFL. I didn't think it was anything different from what I was doing before, and I thought everyone did that because that's the only thing I knew.
Yeah, very well. That's some buck ball, and that still stands today. Buck ball, people say it time to time still, and follows with the franchise, the heart, hustle, and muscle. J-Lo, as we celebrate 50, what say you on that?
I mean, you know, so many years have passed. Of course, they started way before my time, whenever the Bucs started. But watching them in the late '90s, early 2000s to now, just amazing history that's happened. So when you first got to Tampa, you mentioned some of those coaches, Coach Rob Marinelli, who's one of the top dog D-line coaches.
Loaded staff, right? That staff was
Loaded
insane.
staff. I
Yeah.
mean, for the most part, most of them became head coaches. That just shows you the coaching tree of Tony Dungy, what he put together. When you first got there, what was the one player that was somewhat resourceful, maybe kind of helpful, kind of get you ready for the pro football league when you first started?
I always tell everybody, man, I thank God that my rookie minicamp, Hardy Nickerson, was my locker mate. And then later on, my neighbor, that rookie year in 98, and then Derek Brooks. Because when you're 22, 23 years old, getting drafted, getting ready to do what you've dreamt of doing for a long time, and someone's got to kind of remind you that it's work now. It's not just football, it's a job as well. So to have guys like that kind of school me on what it was to be a pro. Now, I'm not going to sit there and act like I was perfect and, without mistake or anything else. But to me, Hardware was that guy that was just like no nonsense coming in. And he, like I said, buck ball in the standard, but yet take the time to talk to you off the field as well. And, I tell people that all the time. And I just did a piece about Hardy Nickerson being one of my favorite middle linebackers all time, just because outside of the football aspect, but the human aspect and the person aspect as well, man. Hardy was amazing.
That's why I think Hardy should be honestly in the Ring of Honor, but that's a topic of discussion, I guess, for another day. But I think Hardy Nickerson surely deserves his luster and shine in the Buccaneers ROH, up there with the other greats, including about to be Simeon Rice, before we get Joey in here. And he'll probably ask a good Colts question, I'm guessing. But speaking of former Bucs, James, we are live next week with former Bucs Super Bowl champion quarterback Brad Johnson. Shout out Bucs by 30 for getting that going. But you and Brad overlapped a year in Tampa, I believe. James, what are your thoughts on Brad Johnson and what he brought to the Bucs and kind of his leadership as a quarterback back when the quarterback was a position where, yeah, stats are great, but it was more so, hey, the Bucs have the defensive pieces in place. Your job is to not turn the ball over and lose us football games and let the defense do the work.
Yeah, I only had 1 year with Brad, and it was a year relief. And to see the growth of the team to go win that Super Bowl the year after I left and went to Indianapolis was amazing. But you said it, and people always, that's the one thing people always want to ask me, what was it like and on that team with the quarterback room? And I was like, well, it was different. Coming in, the bucket, Trent Dilfer was there. Trent was supposed to be that franchise guy. And 2 years with Trent, and it just, it didn't work out. And so they moved on. And then next thing you know, we got Sean King in there, second-round draft pick out of Tulane. Didn't really work out and pan out. And then so for Brad to come in the way he did and kind of, it's like, hey, we're going to give you the keys to the Ferrari. Just don't mess it up. All you got to do is keep it steady. Don't go too fast. Don't go too slow. Cruise control is broke, but we need you to coast this offense. And he was able to do that. And that's the one thing that for so long, and you see it in the league now, if you don't have consistent quarterback play on the offensive side of the ball, it doesn't matter what you do. Because, I think back to 98, 99, some of the games we lost, we only gave up like sometimes 14, 17 points in the game, and you lose a game. There's no way you should lose a game when you're holding teams to 14 points. But there was just no offense. And we had other weapons on the offensive side of the ball, just didn't execute. And Trent is a great person. Trent was a good quarterback, but that is the toughest position in all of football to play. And I say it all the time because once things don't go your way at the quarterback position and it becomes more mental than physical, that ship is sailed. It's over, man. It doesn't matter what you do after that. I can go get you the best running back in the world, Mike Allstott, and go get somebody that's pretty damn good behind him. Mix them up, work done. We can bring in another all-pro fullback on Lorenzo Neal. And to still be able to manage getting down the field and still falter at certain times because of quarterback play. Like I said, and y'all don't get it twisted. I'm not one to just overly critique the quarterback because I know how tough it is to play. My son tried to play quarterback 1 year, and I went to his coach and said, hey, look, My son can't play quarterback no more. Not if I'm going to sit in the stands and watch the game because you're trying to make me stroke out. I'm going to die. So, no, it is tough to watch as a parent. It's even tougher to watch on a team when you know what a person's capable of, but they're just not living up to that ability. And it happens every Sunday.
And speaking of happening every Sunday, our friend of the show, a podcast host of ours, Joey Nips, a Colts guy, his team's been getting that the past 6-7 years out of the quarterback position. And Joey, what say you on that? I'm sure you'll have some great feedback to that. But between the carousel of veterans and then you lead into Richardson, who just hasn't been able to stay healthy, and now they signed Danny Dimes, it's an interesting year for the Colts quarterback group.
Oh yeah, for sure it is. I mean, I actually have a Richardson shirt on right now. Somebody told me that's probably one of few printed out at this time, but let the haters hate, right? But in all seriousness, it has been a carousel. I mean, we live here in Chicago. We know how they have a revolving door at the quarterback position. It's kind of been similar here in Indianapolis over the last 7 years, and that can be tough. I mean, as James knows, when you have Peyton Manning at the helm, as he did in 2002 with a good Colts team, it makes things a lot easier to run smoothly, right? Especially under one of the greats of all time, of course. James, my question kind of to you, I mean, like I've been mentioning earlier, it's been on the mind a lot lately with the passing of Jim Irsay in that 2002 team where they were good and he's a hands-on owner. Anything from, just seeing him around to any conversations? A lot of Colts players this past week, Reggie Wayne, T.Y. Hilton, Dwight Freeney. I mean, I can go on and on. Peyton Manning, it brought up stories. Do you have anything you could add into the, there's a lot of things out there on my guy, Big Jim, I should call him. But when it came to the Colts and the players, everybody, that was a family and that was a true unit they had there with him.
Man, Jim Irsay was awesome. And it's so crazy because I was telling my oldest son this story when he passed away last week. I was like, man, let me tell you. One of the coolest gestures that I've ever had came from Jim Irsay. Like, okay, I love the Glazer family. It was cool. Christmas time, we got some of the weirdest gifts ever. We got coasters. We got whiskey decanters. We got, what the hell else? So we got some cigars one time. And we got like a toiletry kit. Just like some of the weirdest stuff. Like, cool. Here it is, 2002. Jim Irsay for Christmas gets the entire team iPods. This iPods just came out. Like Apple just released it. The screen straight black and white. I still got this thing just because. And then we're like, what is this? And then, one of the tech guys come in. Oh, this is the latest craze. All your music goes on here. You guys don't have to carry Discman no more. And I know I'm dating myself right now with this story, right? A Discman, right? But he's like, you don't have to carry a Discman anymore. All your music, it uploads into this thing, and it's got the biggest capacity you could have, over 1,000 CDs on it. It's like 1,000. That's the motherboard back there. We're like, woo, wait. Jim Irsay sends the Colts IT people to all the players' house to put the FireWire hardware in the computers so that you can hook it up to your iPod, download your music, have that for the airplane. And then we get there. My first son was born in Indianapolis. I get to the facility one morning, and there's a gift in my locker and a card. And I was like, what is this gift and this card in my locker? It was like, congratulations on the newest member to the Colts family. And it had a little Colts baby onesie on there with that card in it. And then later on that week, we played the Philadelphia Eagles. Mr. Irsay came down to the locker room and said, James, I just want to say congratulations to you and the wife, you and Aisha, on the birth of your son. I know it's a proud moment, man, and you're going to be a great father. And I'm just like, the only time I saw, and the only time you see some other owners is on game day, but when they parade in, shake hands right before kickoff and then back up to the suite. That's just, some owners are like that. However they handle their business, they do it. But Jim Irsay always made it a point to make it feel like he knew you and you were friends with him forever. And I was like, wow, first year here, hadn't been here long, and this man straight up just went above and beyond to make sure the comfort was there and to make sure he genuinely said that welcome, your newest addition to your family. It was just amazing to me, man, how he was as a person.
Yeah, that's one of the many great stories that we've heard about Mr. Irsay, Jim Irsay, but that's one of my favorites right there. I mean, that's a time where that thing's a hot ticket item, that iPod back in the day when, Discman, Walkman, all that stuff is awesome. Christopher Cole saying Discman and Walkman were awesome.
They were, but I mean, y'all think about going on pregame warm up with a Discman, you doing high knees, karaoke, whatever else, and your favorite song is just skipping. You can't even get hyped back in the 90s and 2000s trying to do your pregame warm up because your music just skipping and jumping, or you got the Discman tucked down in your thigh pad, and you still got to run a cable now. It was no wireless headphones back then, so you're running the cable down through your pants. You got your girdle on with your thigh pad on there, so you put the Discman in there, and that's tight enough to keep it from moving. It's like, what the hell? Man, we got that on there. We all like, running around the field, warming up, going crazy. Like, yeah. And everybody's like, man, what y'all got? What is that? Man, that's an iPod. That's called an iPod. We got that as a Christmas gift. Like, what? Couldn't believe it. It was cool.
Next thing you know, everybody wanted to be an Indianapolis Colt with the, but that is innovation at its finest. I mean, that's a good point. I didn't even think of it like that, but what a useful gift, a nice gift, right? Because there you are. You could warm up right with your music then. As we got Big Game James Cannida, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer and Indianapolis Colt, helping us give a toast to Mr. Irsay, helping us give a toast to 50th season of the Buccaneers. And we got our guy A-Cats on. Cats, welcome in. Anything you want to ask Mr. Big Game James himself?
Thank you very much, James. Thanks for joining. I remember watching you quite well from 98 through 01. Did I get the years right? When you were here in Tampa? Yeah.
You sure did, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do. I got a couple, but I got how awesome, I'm going to use the word awesome, and if I'm wrong, you can correct me. Awesome was it to play on a defensive line alongside the likes of Warren Sapp and Simeon Rice?
It was wild, man. Like I said, when I first got to that defensive line room, and this is what was crazy to me, being drafted by Tampa, talking to them on the phone, and going to college out west in Nevada, you knew who Warren Sapp was. You knew who Derek Brooks was because of their days of college football, and then being first-round picks at Tampa. I knew who John Lynch was because I played high school in the area of California where Stanford is, so saw Lynch play all the time. So I go into this team and this defensive room, and like I said, Hardy Nickerson just did the Nike commercial with Dennis Hopper, whatever I forget his name. But the Nike commercial, it's Hardy Nickerson. You're like, wow, so you know all these guys. But then the depth, and you see the guys like Brad Culpepper, Chidi Hanatu, Tyoka Jackson, Reagan Upshaw. Reagan and I were from the same area in California, so I knew Reagan as well. But you see all the talent in there, and the first thing that came to my mind was like, damn, this is awesome. Damn, how am I going to make this team? It's a lot of great, it's a lot of great, it's a lot of good defensive linemen in here. And that's the one thing about the NFL that I had to learn too, was like everyone drafted doesn't always make it. And yeah, it might be 80 some guys that go to camp, but it's only gonna be a 53-man roster and only dressing 47 on game. He's like, what? So, but yeah, it was, man, Cass, it was awesome going into that room, playing on that line with those guys, and then the addition of Simeon Rice later on coming to join that team. It was unreal. And it was the knowledge of those guys on the line in that room, knowing the game of football, being able to learn how to read keys of the offensive linemen, getting ready for game preparation was amazing, because you would hear the different things that different guys said. Or like, what do you see on this one? I see this, I see that. And then being able, everyone using everyone's input, collaborating it, and going out and being able to execute a game plan was amazing.
You guys were incredible to watch for so many years. And I know there were some games I heard you mention, where you held them to 14. I remember one where you all held the opponent to 9 and we didn't come out with a win. It happens sometimes.
It did.
And you always have ones where you allow 30 and you win. That didn't happen very often, but we did have it did happen a couple times back then. But it was a joy watching you here.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, we are here with Big Game James Cannida, celebrating 50 years of Bucs football. And I have a question that's kind of a burning one throughout Bucs Nation. We're going to tie it in a little bit here. with the former player. What a better expertise than get a former player's opinion on it. But James, Burt Emanuel, the catch, one of the dark clouds, I guess, in the 50 years of Bucs ball. To me, that's
Oh man.
I still think it's a catch. But James, what say you on the Burt Emanuel moment, being on the team, the catch? What went through your head when they actually said, hold on a minute, that's not a catch, and then ultimately we know what happens next?
That was crazy. I mean, it was like gut-wrenching and heart-stopping when it happened. But the play that sticks out more to me in that game than even that catch, because Burt did a great job of catching that ball, having his hand under, later on the Burt Emanuel rule, the rules changed and more clarification, right? Was the catch Ricky Parole made over Brian Kelly. I still, that one-handed catch over the shoulder. Kurt Warner put the ball that was just, and Brian Kelly had great coverage on that play. I mean, he was on him like wet tissue paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to pull it in was just like, he's not gonna make that catch. Damn, he caught it. It's okay. Then that next drive happens where they end up calling a catch and incompletion, and we still needed other things to happen on that drive anyway. But man, it was rough, like I said, because we knew how good we were on defense. We just started operating better on offense at that time. And you think this is it. We're going to get to the Super Bowl. And, I mean, I know if we make it to the Super Bowl that year against Tennessee, we win that game as well. I mean, I really believe that. So it was tough to deal with, man.
Yeah, and I agree with everything you said. Being a Cubs guy myself, that was kind of like our Steve Bartman moment, where, hey, there were other factors that happened in the game that were really the key turnaround of the game, and that shouldn't really have affected it. But, hey, Burt, like you said, did a great job. Rule ended up changing because of it. And we've seen other plays stand out in history, like the Tuck rule, same sort of thing, right? Where,
Right.
rules kind of get created on the fly, it seems, at times, and they've acted like they've been in the rule books forever. We do have a question from Richard. Say, Mr. Cannida, other than being drafted, what's your favorite Bucs moment you were a part of? Which is great, because we were going to ask you what your favorite moment was of 50 years in Tampa.
Man, I have a couple of things. One was we're getting ready to play Chicago in Chicago, and we're getting ready that week, and I'm in the training room, and my quadricep is swollen. Like it's swollen. My legs don't look right. Todd Torricelli's looking at my legs. He's like, God damn, what'd you do? I was like, I don't know, man. I said, my quad is sore. I can't hardly get my stance. Rod Marinelli walks in the training room and he goes, defensive lineman, pull hamstring, pull quad, unacceptable. And he just walks out. And Derek Brooks is in the cold tub. Rondé Barber is on the table getting stretched. I'm up there getting ice and stem, talking to Rondé and Warren. Rod walks in. Everyone stops talking. They all look at Rod while he's talking. They all look at me. He walks out, and then everyone just falls out laughing. They was like, you better get your ass up off the table and go to work. You got ain't no sitting out today. I was like, I wasn't even trying to sit out of practice. It just I'm in there getting the treatment to make sure I could practice. But just the way the coaches were, the accountability, but always, making you feel like you can do more even when you think your body's going to tell you something else. Because that was one of the toughest parts for me in the NFL was the length of a season. In my rookie year, we had 5 preseason games instead of 4 because we did the Hall of Fame game. All of them were on the road because Raymond James wasn't even open yet. And then to go into a 16-week season, it's like by the time you a little bit more than halfway through, your college season is usually concluded. And I was like, man, how the hell do y'all do this? Like, how? And Coach Dungy believed in pads damn near the whole year. Like this new way of practicing and once a week or once every so often and not touching and no helmet. Shit, I would have played 20 years if I would have got drafted in 2018 instead of 1998. It's unreal, man. But that's one story that I liked a lot. And another one was a game in Green Bay. Christmas Eve, we're up in Green Bay. Come out the second half once the sun went down. They said with the wind chill, it was like almost like negative 15 to 20 degrees below. And I'm on kickoff return, and I look up, And this back when you could still run wedge blocking, where basically it was just like, hey, y'all go make a wall and just go run, try to knock somebody out. You can't even wedge block no more. It's illegal. Todd Washington sets the wedge, big offensive lineman. I get next to Todd and we run, and I'm looking up and I see this linebacker just beelining down the field. And I was like, well, shit, he's not going to run and blow up the wedge. He's going to run around for sure. I know he's not going to run. And it's like, damn, he getting closer. All right. Bam! You hit. All of a sudden, you hear everybody like, whoa, baby. Yeah, that was a great block. And I run off the field like I couldn't feel the whole left half of my body in my face. And Todd was like, man, that was a good ass block, James. I was like, bro, I can't feel my face. I think he just knocked it off. It might be on the field somewhere. Like, I look okay. He said, yeah, you still ugly. I was like, all right, then I'm good. But man, that cold up in Lambeau on that field, man. And I was just like, yo, this is stupid. Like, this should be illegal to play this cold outside right now when I got hit the way I did, man. And I just love telling that story because everyone's face and everyone's cheering. In my mind, I was like, there's no way I made that block because I feel like I just got killed.
In Green Bay, cold weather, that is a mecca of cold weather, and that story is incredible. I cannot believe that. And sadly, modern day football, maybe not sadly, but modern day football fans don't get stories like that anymore because they try and limit that type of blocking and wedge blocking. But let's be honest, those were big plays in those type of games. J-Lo from our guy, Big Game James. What say you, J-Lo, on Lambeau in the cold weather?
I couldn't imagine. I can imagine being in that cold weather, freezing, and then you're constantly in the field running, taking hits. I mean, playing the cold is never fun. I can imagine what you were going through when you were just describing it. But the one thing I do want to ask, playing against Brett Favre, I'm pretty sure you've seen a lot of rivalry with Sapp and Favre and Lambeau. What runs through your mind about that? Because I know those two just hated each other on the field. Like, when you saw that rivalry.
It was amazing, man. And just, to see it kind of build on TV prior to getting there and to see it in person and how it carried over. And it was a rivalry, but it wasn't a hatred at all. They had the most respect for one another. It was amazing. But Brett Favre was very deceiving in how, you look at him and what you think he can do and then what he was capable of doing. Because one year we're up there in Lambeau, we call a blitz. Lynch is coming off the outside. It was one of our blitzes we like to call bonsai, and that was coming from the boundary side, that short side of the field, to where I had a long stick to come inside. The defensive ends coming in, that strong safety's coming off the edge, and Brett Favre is right there. And I'm like, yeah, I got a sack. And I go to hit him, and I look up, and I'm like, I just got a face full of grass. I'm like, what the hell happened? How did he get by me? And to look up, step up, and then when you see it on the film, just at the right time, he crouched down, moved his shoulders, and got out of the pocket and just got the ball away. And it was just like, not a lot of people could do that. But to go in and what that meant, and, I'm getting so old to where the kids I coach and talk to, they didn't even realize that the Buccaneers used to be in the same division as the Packers, the Bears, the Lions, and the Vikings. They was like, what, y'all? No, they weren't. They're in the NFC South. I'm like, I know what they're in now. I said it used to be called the NFC Central. He's like, wait a minute. You lived in Florida and you had to go play Chicago? I was like, yes, and Green Bay. Man, that's crazy, coach. I wouldn't have done that. I said, yes, you would have, fool. That was the team you played for. You didn't have a choice. But to see it, to be a part of it, the stories you hear, you see, the way they played, both of those guys are, phenomenal football players. It was just, sometimes I feel like I lived a storybook, because to sit up and name the guys that are in the Hall of Fame that I played with alone, to the other Hall of Famers I played against, and to see on a weekly basis. Like, my first year in the league, Barry Sanders was still in Detroit. Like, I can't even describe what that was like. Like, third game of the season, I think, is we go to Pontiac in the Silver Dome. I'm inactive, and I'm up there on the sideline just like, my jaw's dropping. Like, I can't believe here it is. I'm watching Barry Sanders on the football field, making all the things you've seen on highlight film. He's doing that in person in front of me. I'm just like, this is nuts. Like, it's even faster in person than it is on TV.
That is awesome, Barry Sanders, and I
And
mean,
go ahead. If you don't mind, I wanted to mention that your rookie
go ahead,
year,
Pat.
it turns out, as it turned out, now that I remember, your rookie year ended up being Randy Moss's rookie year, and I can't forget that because his first game was against the Bucs, and I think he caught 3 touchdowns, and Floyd Young had great coverage on at least one of them, and he took it away, and I was like, well, my God, this season might not go our way here. I'm like, oh my goodness, because I was hearing all about Randy Moss and how everyone's like, how did he drop in the draft? And I thought, there's got to be something. The Bucs, we should take care of Minnesota week 1. The Raiders opening week 3, and all of a sudden Randy Moss is there, and I don't remember if he had 2 or 3, and Chris Carter had 1, and we ended up with a lot of future Hall of Famers in that division. On our team, and you guys had to face and Randy Moss, particularly from my understanding, we had a special coverage just for him, or what I heard. Don't know if it's true.
Well, it came around later because the knock on Randy Moss was, and this is funny because you heard everyone say it all the time, yet when he came out and performed, you couldn't stop him. That he is lazy and he took plays off. That was the perception of coaches. He had the incident, I think, was it Notre Dame or Florida State, which one he went to or Virginia, even back in high school. So he's supposed to go to Florida State, then supposed to go to Notre Dame, whatever. Ends up in Marshall. So a lot of people were skeptical because of his past. Yet that was the best thing that ever happened in Minnesota was him falling to them, where he did. And it's so crazy you say that because I talked to Floyd Young, probably about a year ago, we were talking about that. Floyd's doing good things. He owns his own barbershop out in Arizona now. And like you said, that play and Floyd right there, and there's one of those things like, whoa, and you just saw Randy Moss do that. You're like, whoa. And then you see another play later on. It's just like, damn, they got something. And then to see him blossom into, that player that he became was unreal. But yeah, him, Chris Carter, Jake Reed, Randall Cunningham was throwing the ball.
We beat him though. We were the one on their 15-1.
Yeah. I remember that because I got a picture. I got a picture of somewhere of
what a game that was.
Chris Carter trying to run a reverse and flatten him in the backfield on that. And yeah, that season was a good one for us to get that one win. But everybody thought that the Vikings were winning a Super Bowl that year. That's how talented that team was.
That was an incredible offense, and they unfortunately lost to Atlanta in the NFC title games. I remember it because I was, since the Bucs weren't in the playoffs, I was thinking I'd like to see Minnesota versus Denver. I'd like to see Elway against that Minnesota team. That would have been a great Super Bowl. No disrespect to the Falcons, but that would have been a great Super Bowl.
You can disrespect the Falcons. It's okay.
Okay, good. I usually do, but I was being all PC there. But yeah.
Joey, speaking of legends, Colts had a guy by the name of Dwight Freeney, legendary stuff. What say you and his relation to Indianapolis?
Yeah, since the last time we talked a big game, James, and looking over that, Dwight Freeney is now, of course, entered the Hall of Fame, as you mentioned. Mm-hmm. You got to play alongside some greats, and I know coming from Tampa, where you got to be, as Katz mentioned, in such a great defensive line room to where, Dwight Freeney, a lot of people, he came in and had success, but coming into the draft, a lot of people said he was too small, this and that. It might not work out. Getting to be, I believe, both of your first year at Indy and getting to see this man on the practice field and how fast he was and have such a good rookie season, what were maybe some things that, as a more of a veteran, you were able to speak to him on, as I'm sure he was curious and learning, and then just how good he was his rookie season, which ended up going to a Hall of Fame career?
Man, Dwight was a sponge, first and foremost. So to come in and want to absorb everything he could from older people, older players. And one of the reasons Tony told me that he really wanted me to come to Indianapolis with him was because I knew the standard of the defense that they were going to put in. And Ron Meeks ran that defense exactly the way, well, I won't say exactly. pretty much set up the exact same way that we set it up in Tampa. Now, it's hard to mimic Monty Kiffin. It just is. You know, that don't care. You know, I can give you guys the plans or something, but how I interpret it and how you interpret it may be a little bit different. But nevertheless, Dwight Freeney, from the time he came in through his whole career, he had one gear, and that was full speed. Like, he only knew one way to go, and that was full speed. And his thing was, if I mess up, I'm going to mess up at 100 miles per hour. I'll slow down and fix it afterwards. And I tell people this, for him to be able to play the defensive end position the way he did at that size, he does not get credit for how strong he was. This dude was strong. I mean, we get in the weight room, we're throwing weights around. I'm like, yeah, come on over here. You can't do this. And I'm looking, he's just like, keeping. I was like, God damn. He's strong for real. And to see him be able to use it and to just have that natural leverage because of his height, and the spin move was like a work of art. It's like we're playing against the Ravens one Sunday, and it's a TV timeout. And I was like, hey, J.O., you know it's coming. Hey, it's 3rd and long. You know the spin move coming, and I'm going to make sure he got plenty of room to come inside. He's like, I know that sorry spin move coming. Freeney ain't spinning on me. Jonathan Ogden just talk. He not spinning on me. I know it's coming. Man, 2 steps up the field. He had the set to him. Next thing you know, you just see 93. Swoop, back inside and just boom. And I'm just like, I tried to tell you the spin move was coming, man. I said, you should have told your guard to help inside. I said, it would have been better if he let me get the sack than you giving the sack up to Freeney, but you had to learn the hard way. But just to watch how he did things was amazing. And I had a chance to talk to Dwight not too long ago, like when he found out he was going into the hall, to tell him congratulations and that, you know, he really deserved it. And, just, happy to say that I was a part of that. And, man, when I tell you his mom could throw down, oh, my God, whenever she would come to town and would invite the whole D-line over, some of the best. It was either Trinidad or Jamaica. I don't want to mess it up. If somebody hear me that's friends with Dwight and I said the wrong one, please forgive me. But I know the curry goat, the pigeon peas and rice and everything else she made was spot on. It was amazing.
Hey, can't go wrong with some home cooking from an NFL mom. We know, the chunky soup commercials could hold true. The best type of cooking comes from the NFL moms out there. We got a question from Tyler before Zach taps in. Favorite Buccaneer teammate of all time, James? Is that a tough one or easy one?
It is, man. It's tough because I hung out with some of everybody. I hung out with my D-line. I hung out with all, but the person I probably became the closest with, and I'm probably still good friends with him right now, was Frank Middleton, offensive lineman out of the University of Arizona from Beaumont, Texas. And Frank kind of took me in, like when I first got drafted. He let me crash and stay with him while I was waiting to see. He's like, hey man, he said, until you know what's gonna happen, don't spend no money, don't waste no money. I got you. He said, you stay here with me, and you can use my car if you need to, or we just ride to practice together till you figure out what's up, man. He said, you good people, man. I just don't want you to waste money nowhere. And for him to do that when he did my rookie year, it just built a bond and a relationship to where when he left and went to Oakland, I was so mad, pissed off. I was like, man, I can't believe you leaving. But I could believe he left because the contract he got there compared to what Tampa tried to give him. But Frank Middleton was, because he was a giant clown, man. Like, I don't know, a lot of you guys remember Frank or Son, but he was always clowning around, always talking crazy. The life of the party, talk crazy with the reporters, how always had them laughing. But he genuinely is one of the best people that you would ever meet, and to where, if he had to give you the shirt off his back, he would. You don't want to see him with his shirt off, but he would give it to you if you needed it.
That is great stuff right there. That is awesome. Middleton, yes, he ended up going to Oakland, and then after, didn't he have one more? Was it Miami? Was it?
Yeah, he did. He did 2 years in Miami after he left Oakland as well. And it was funny because Nick Saban came in that year, his last year there in Miami, and there was some good stories right there.
I'm sure those are good. You could probably have a whole 3-hour show on some Nick Saban stories like that. Zach, you're not a Dolphin guy, obviously a Buck guy. What say you though on Bucks 50th season or the upcoming season? Anything that get off your chest?
Sorry, you cut out. You talking to me?
Yes, sir. Sorry about
Sorry. No, that's
No,
okay.
you're good.
I have a question about that. I have a question about something else. So, I was a big Trent Dilfer guy. I thought he was going to be the savior of the franchise when he got drafted. Did not turn out to be that way, but I feel like Trent's a good guy. But do you have a good Trent Dilfer story? I know we always used to hear like Warren telling the offense, "Hey, you give us 17, we'll win the game." So is there any story that kind of sticks out about Dilfer from your time there?
Yeah, and it's man, I wish I remember who we were playing. But coming off, this is when I just fell out laughing and realizing how NFL guys talk to each other. And Trent threw an interception, and as he's coming off the field, Warren's like, God, dog 12, can we just hang on to the ball a little bit? We just don't give it away. He said, well, hell, you think I'm trying to give it away? And it was just like the whole interaction, like the craziest, shortest conversation, but you could tell the frustration between both of our stars at the time. You know what I mean? It's just like, God damn, I can't believe like we just got y'all the ball back and you gave it right back to the other team. Like, damn, can you just not give it away? Like, you think I wanted to give it away? And we're like, hell, you threw it right there. So it looked like you did. But one thing, like I said, when I said about the mental part of the quarterback, it was one game, Trent's last season there, they're introducing offense, and I stood near the entrance. Like, I didn't run way down. I stood right there in the line for him to run out. And as they're making the introduction and they're calling him last, you see him with his eyes closed, just having a conversation. I don't know if it was praying to himself or what. And that was one of the times I looked and said, he's lost. I don't think he has that edge and that swagger that you want your quarterback to have. Like, it looked like he was trying to almost talk himself into going out and performing instead of just going out and being the quarterback that we all thought that he could be. Because like I said, I believe Trent Dilfer is one of the better talents drafted throughout football. Like, you watch his arm, his strength, smart as hell. Like, if you sat up here and just listened to Trent talk offense about football, he had all those things that you need in that makeup to be what, one will say he's going to be a great quarterback. But somewhere between being thrown in the fire early and then finally getting pieces around him, that confidence he needed was lost somewhere between those 2 points. And I don't know, where it was, because you sit up here, you watch him coach, people love him at UAB, you watch what he did. I know some kids that went out and worked the Nike Elite 11 with them. They was like, man, oh my God, I cannot believe what I was able to pick up and learn from Trent Dilfer. So when you hear it and see it, you never think back to, and he's still a Super Bowl winning quarterback. So regardless of how you say it, he's still a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but he just had to go somewhere different. I just think that it was the right time and right place for him to go to be able to start over and have the success that he did when he won with Baltimore.
Yeah, and sometimes it just takes changing it up a little bit, going to a new place. I mean, he obviously had the right brain on his shoulders now, head coaching a college university like UAB. He was a very successful high school football coach as well, but didn't work out here, but still cool stuff with James Cannida telling stories about Trent Dilfer, former Bucs and Colts D lineman, as we kind of take our last powwow go around here, fellas. Gonna start with J-Lo, as he may have to bounce out a little early. J-Lo, what say you about the Bucs and celebrating 50 seasons with James Cannida?
Yeah, so unfortunately I will have to be taking off soon, but James, I appreciate you being on, giving your time. But I will ask you one more question. Out of all the coaches you've been through in the pros, which one had a bigger impact on you and your NFL career, whether it was with the Bucs or with the Colts or even with your stint in Washington?
Well, I mean, realistically, Tony Dungy was my coach pretty much my whole career, because I was with him in Tampa, then in Indianapolis, and then Steve Spurrier was a coach in Washington, and that was just Can I say shit show on here?
Yes.
sir.
Okay, yeah, that's just kind of what that was. To know football like he does, but Daniel Snyder was running that whole goddamn circus. It was, oh God, it was a mess. It was a mess. If I had to do all over again, I would have waited one extra day and went out to San Francisco like my instinct first told me to, but let my agent talk me into going to Washington at the time. Tony Dungy, I'll say this, had the biggest impact on me as not just a football player, but as a man as well. And the kind of person he is in the building that you saw on TV was the same person he was when there was no cameras at all. I tell people this story all the time. I still get Christmas cards from the Dungy family. When my son, who I told a story about being born in Indianapolis, graduated high school, Lauren and Tony sent Jameson a card and say congratulations before he went off to school and money. I mean, just amazing person, amazing people, but to make you realize, what you can and can't do, and that football is a short-lived part of your life, that you have to be something other than a football player when it's all said and done, and to be able to take those lessons and transition them into my life now is like, I can't even put a price on it. Like, I sent Tony a text the other day. I was like, hey, coach, just want to let you know, thinking about you, appreciate everything. And you don't know how much you changed my life. He's like, hit me back, James, everything okay? I'm like, no, everything's good. I just want to tell you, thank you. And, it's getting older in life. People that you adore and appreciate aren't always going to be here. So, they always say give people their flowers when you can. So to me, hands down, Tony Dungy is an amazing man, an amazing mentor, and just, to shape people and to be able to bring so many different kind of people together. Because, when you get an NFL roster together, people come from all kind of walks of life, and people are kind of going through all kind of things in their life to get to that. And for him to be able to mentor them and talk to them the way he does and try to keep people going is amazing, man. So without a doubt, it's like I said, I didn't have a bunch of NFL coaches, but out of those two, hands down, Tony Dungy helped shape me, and I like to hope that I'm representing his teachings well.
Oh, I think you more than are representing his teachings well, James, that's for sure. We do have a great question from a listener. Richard has one, but first we're going to go to Joey to kind of wrap up the Colts things or whatever you might want to ask, Joey.
Yeah, a little two-part of the first one, more specifically a moment. Philadelphia Eagles that year in 2002 when you were part of the Colts were 12-4. They had one loss at home, and that was to you guys in the Indianapolis Colts. And you guys actually thrashed them 35-13. You held their running game well in check, as McNabb was actually their leading rusher, not even a running back in that one. Do you have any specific moment from that game? And I know a really opposite question to that, just in general, what's one of your favorite hobbies to do these days?
It's okay. That game was amazing because I know for me, that was the week my son was born. So I probably had one of my best statistical games as a Colt, but just how we played. But, at the time prior to in Tampa, Tony ran into that Philadelphia buzzsaw. So it was starting to be said that he couldn't get over the hump, that he couldn't beat the Eagles. So for me, winning that game so decisively on defense, and then Peyton Manning and Tarek Glenn caught me real quick coming off the field and said, James, we want you to present Tony with the game ball because you know how much this game means to him. And I was like, wait, for me? For real? I said, no, Peyton, this needs to come from me. He said, no. He said, this needs to come from you because you're a Dungy guy. You helped this defense become, what we finally played the way, we've been talking about all year. You present him with the game ball. So being able, after Tony did his speech, I had Peyton and slid me the ball. And I said, hold on. I want to say one thing. I say a lot of people said that this man would never beat Andy Reid, and he showed them today what it looks like beating Andy Reid. Tony Dungy, here's your game ball. In the locker room with nuts. So, like, for me, that's probably like one of my best moments in Indy, not just because of how we did it, but because it was just like that relief, like, yeah, I finally beat him, and boom, and Tony, they went on to build something great in Indy for, you know, a good period of time, man, and that was all because of Coach Dungy. If I had to give it up for just straight hobbies now, I'm gonna have to say my podcasting. Something that it's so crazy because, like, when somebody first said, "Hey, you should do a podcast," and I was like, "Well, what the hell is a podcast?" And it kind of started with me blogging first. Like, I was doing this website called sportsblog.com. I was going on Sportsblog and I was doing a story and started trying to, you know, just cover the NFL in general and the University of Nevada, things like that. And so I was like, hey, you ever thought about just, you know, recording what you write and putting it out there and stream it? I'm like, what? I had no idea what they were talking about. And to see it growing the way it is a blessing, but really it's fun for me. It's therapeutic for me. It's a way for me to just let off steam, talk sports. I'm a very opinionated person. I probably shouldn't be sometimes, but it's that outlet for me to just be able to go be myself, talk about a game that I love, and just sports in general, learning new things. That's why I like my variety sports show a whole lot, because my partner, the Buff Nerd, is a Dallas Cowgirls fan. So I give him hell every week, especially during the football season, but to just, you know, be able to get up there, talk sports, have people tune in, listen, and to be that vessel for people that, you know, some people tell me a lot of times, like, hey, man, I never knew that, you know, you're accessible. You make yourself accessible. I was like, yeah, I'm a human being just like everybody else. Yeah, I was blessed. I played a professional sport. I did something I always dreamt of doing, but it doesn't really make me different as a person. So that's why when Thomas reached out to me, like, hey, man, can you come on and do the show again? What you look like next week? I'm like, I'm free this day or this day. Let me know what works best. I'll make sure I move things around and I can get on here with you guys. But Joe, that's my biggest hobby right now, man, to where I damn near feel like it's a job, because this morning I was recording the Buccaneer schedule release show. I've been working on my Mount Rushmore series that I saw something posted on X. And so every week I'm posting my Mount Rushmore, and I found a way to put a Buccaneer in every single one of them. And trust me, I am catching hell for my safeties when everybody's telling me there's no way in hell John Lynch should have been on my Mount Rushmore. I said, it's my Mount Rushmore. Tell me yours, and it's cool. I respect it, but don't tell me I need to change mine.
Yes, there's absolutely enough Bucs legends to fill a Mount Rushmore.
They didn't want Lynch on your Mount Rushmore, or they wanted him on there?
They didn't. So my Mount Rushmore for safeties was Ronnie Lott, Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, John Lynch, and then my honorable mention was Brian Dawkins, Steve Atwater, and Jack Tatum. Those
sounds good to me.
Those are my honorable mentions. And everybody's like, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. And then some people come on like, that's not, oh, you didn't go back far enough. I'm like, well, shit, there's 4 people. I gotta put 4 people on a mountain, and you want me to go through the whole NFL? Like I can't. To me, I said, and so I had my criteria. They can't be a current player, but they're gonna be great one day. No, I know that. So when I'm dead and you do your Mount Rushmore, they could be on yours. They don't have to be on mine. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why it's called my Mount Rushmore. Let me know yours in the comments below. But yeah, I found a way to weasel. I say weasel to get someone that I play with on pretty much every level so far, and I've gotten through the entire defense now, and it's time for me to transition over to offense. So probably Friday I'll be dropping my first offensive one. I was going to start with quarterback, but I think I'm going to save the quarterback position for last, and I'm going to start with the Hogs up front.
I love that. You're built in the trenches, right? That's what people don't realize. Yeah, it might not be the flashy thing, but the big boys are what build the football teams. That's right. For damn sure. That's why I love talking to you, especially James, because I'm a trenches guy. I like hearing the person. That's why I like listening to Ian Beckles too.
Ian does a great job.
Yeah, I miss him on Tampa Sports Radio, man. I mean, he's still around.
Still on sometimes. He comes on Thursday morning.
Yep.
Okay. He's on with Pat and Aaron. Yeah.
So at least he's still heard. But Zach, what say you on any last go rounds or couple of questions? Anything for James Cannida while we have the man, the myth, the legend himself here kicking off our Legends of the Fall Bucs 50th season anniversary tour?
Yeah, so we've kind of talked about some of the Bucks teams of the past. So what's your take on this current season of the Bucks? Do you see any similarities with the prior two Super Bowl teams? We know we got a lot of Super Bowl hype this year. So what are your thoughts on that as far as similarities with the past Super Bowl winning teams?
I think it's a very favorable schedule compared to last year. I like offensively what we can do. Bucky Irvin surprised the hell out of me last year, y'all. I will just say that right off the rip. I was like, couldn't believe it. I really wanted to see us go edge in the first round. Like I thought Donovan Azuruka out of Boston College would have been a great pick. But then watching Emeka Ibuka at Ohio State and seeing what he can do, and then honestly, we all saw Chris Godwin's ankle on that field against Baltimore on that Monday night. Like they say he'll be ready. Don't know if he'll be ready. For Emeka to be there where he was when the Buccaneers picked, the more I thought about it, I had to calm myself. I mean, I'm defensive. If you ask me every year, I would pick somebody on the damn defensive side of the ball. That's just because I could find a reason in the makeup to find it. But looking at this current roster, I like what we did draft-wise. I am still concerned about the linebacker position a little bit, but at the same time, Servassier Dennis looked like he was about to start going pretty well. If you watched that game, I think it was Detroit last year, the way he was playing. Then the injuries happened, and then he's back out of it. Like, damn, what are we going to do? But looking at it, how we are, the Super Bowl team with Tom, and think about it, y'all. We win the South last year, make it to the playoffs, and that secondary was so beat up damn near the entire season. So to address that, and when they got Jacob Parrish out of Kansas State and watching his film and his body of work, I think he's an immediate player. Like I think he's helping day one. Benjamin Morrison, he was injured, so hopefully by the time all this is done and training camp starts and the season starts, he'll be ready to go. But his body of work at Notre Dame was good as well. So I think the secondary has been addressed and be better because you can never account for that many injuries in a season. You know what I mean? Like you don't think like, oh yeah, we're gonna be great, but we're gonna be hurt the whole year in the secondary. We're still gonna be good. So I think that'll be fine. Y'all may know more than I know, but seeing that Hassan Reddick wasn't at OTAs, don't know why. I'm not overly concerned as long as he is there when camp starts and he brings the Hassan Reddick that we saw prior to going to the Jets. I think that helps the pass rush because we'll need that. And I think Yaya Diaby is going to have a good year. Kalijah Kancey, another one that hasn't really been healthy, in his first 2 years. If he can just come out the gate and give us all 16 games, I think we'll be fine. And I'm not gonna lie, losing Liam Cohen. So Baker Mayfield's about to have his third offensive coordinator in 3 years. It makes me a little bit worried, but at the same time, he played well with the running backs that we had and the way the game was called. So if Josh Grisner can call the games the way he needs to on offense, we'll win the South, and I think we can make a playoff run. I never like to say we're a Super Bowl team because I always feel like I jinx it if I say it. So, you know what I'm saying? We're going to do okay. But, I believe that this team really can make a good run.
Yeah, I think they got all the tools. And it's funny you mentioned that, James, because I was going to bring up Hassan Reddick because nothing bad, but we had some friendly banter. Hey, within the podcast, is it good? Is it bad he's not there? I personally think in 2025, voluntary workouts, yeah, you'd like to see the guy there, but to me, it ain't a big worry, a big deal if they're not in the building at that point in time, only because it's kind of the modern day trend amongst veterans out there, especially veterans who have proved themselves in the past, like I know they're not new to the team, but Mike Evans, Tristan Wirfs, those are some of the guys who weren't there for the Bucs. On the Colts side of the coin, you had guys like Jonathan Taylor, Joshua Downs. You got some pros who don't show up. And I know they're not new to the teams, but still, a lot of veterans, it's not like they're not working out, right? They're still putting in the work. They're still doing that. By the way, that was hilarious. Is Joey gives a goodbye. He says, "This is Joe, the Colts fan. My computer died. I just wanted to say I love talking ball with you, and we'll be listening to more of your stuff as of this week. Hope all is well for you and your
Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, so James, you're beloved here by our listeners, by us, and one of our beloved listeners does want to ask you, as we're talking about Reddick and some of the newer guys, he has a question about an older guy. You and Booger McFarland had similar journeys. How was that relationship, and how great had he been if it wasn't for injuries? Yeah, for obviously younger Bucs fans, Booger and James both started in Tampa, and then both eventually moved on to the Indianapolis Colts.
Booger, man, could have, I mean, his get off was amazing. Like watching him get off, the speed that he had, the quickness, got to a point where he just really couldn't stay healthy. I hadn't talked to Boog in a while because the last time I was there in Tampa was for Rondé's Ring of Honor induction, and he had a game or something that he was doing for ESPN and was away. We messaged each other. We talked, but I hadn't talked to him in a while since then. That was my roommate, like on the road. Like, you know, we shared a room on the road, joked, laughed all the time, got along good, stories. But and it was so funny. One of my boys was like, dude, if you turned all the defensive tackles around and we just saw the back of your heads and they shaved y'all bald, y'all look like cookie cutters of each other. Y'all all about the same size, the same height, the same first, got a fast first step. I said, well, that's how we thrived in that Tampa too. Real taller, longer defensive ends, stout guys in the middle that could play in one gap and get off the ball and get after it. But Booker's a good person, was a good roommate on the road. He said I snored a little too much. That's my bad. But was great to have around. Great stories, and Booger's another one that could give you some great stories for sure about different things that went on in that locker room and on the field and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a great team. Like I say, I didn't have when someone said who's my favorite teammate. Like I got along pretty much with everybody. I can't think of anybody that was like, man, I couldn't stand him. I just hated him. Like that's not the kind of team we had when I was there, and I was very fortunate that we all got along for the most part.
Yeah, before we bring you in for your last little go around, I have kind of a interesting one, or kind of a fun one, James, as you eventually ended up playing with the Dallas Desperados, who were an Arena Football League squad for a couple of years, and they were actually owned by Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys as well. So you kind of spoke earlier on Irsay, you spoke earlier on the Glazers a little bit. I know it's a different league being in the Arena Football, but what was Jerry Jones' impact, if any, on the Dallas Desperados, and how was your time as a Desperado?
I played 3 years with the Desperados, and I'd say this. At the time, a lot of NFL owners started kind of dabbling into the arena market, and if you were going to do it and play it, Dallas was the team to be on. Jerry Jones had it laid out for us. I mean, we practiced at the Cowboys facility. We had some of the same catering that they use for the Cowboys during the season for the arena team. So I came in playing like, wow, this is amazing. I can't believe this. And you would have other guys come other teams like, man, what the hell is this? Man, they give us a per diem and we got to go get like McDonald's and stuff. Y'all got caterers? I'm like, everybody don't. And I came from the NFL to the Arena League, and I was like, oh, this is not that bad. This is cool. I can do this. So I was like, until my leg was like, hey, bro, we done. We can't do this no more. I was like, man, I'm going to milk this for what it's worth. We had access to the Cowboys facility to work out whenever, when we wanted to. So like during the NFL season was arena off season. You just had to wait till after all their stuff was done. And if you wanted to go work out at night at Valley Ranch at the Cowboys complex, you could go in. They let you in. You had the key, the number to put your code in, go to the weight room, work out. Their assistant equipment guys were like the head equipment guys for the arena team. So it's like I walk around Dallas with Cowboys gear on. I'm a big bald head dude. It's like, hey man, what you play for the Cowboys now? I'm like, no, I don't play for the Cowboys, but I had Cowboy stuff on all the time because it was great playing arena football for Jerry Jones. And Jerry was he was very personable. Like I talk about Jerry Jones a lot because I think I get frustrated just a little bit because how things are run, because I believe the Cowboys could just be a better team. But now Jerry's a lot older now than he was when I was playing arena football, and it might be time to get out of his way a little bit, out of his own way. But he was a great owner to have. Like I said, he laid it out for us. He treated us like we were like damn near the Dallas Cowboys 2.0. It's kind of how it felt. So it was great walking around town. They always had things going on, certain restaurant, different perks we had. It was just like, hey, I would come on, tell me, I was like, hey, you want to go get something to eat tonight? Like, where are we going? I was like, it's a steakhouse in downtown. We got free passes for, Jerry Jones gave a whole team passes to the steakhouse. Like, what? Like, yeah, come on, let's go. And so, I mean, it was, when I say it was cool, I have no complaints at all. Jerry made the time in Desperado's uniform worth it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, what a couple of owners, Jim Irsay, Jerry Jones, the Glazier, you were in good hands. Hopefully, I would hope it, but based on your stories, it seems as such. And that's cool, man. Anyway, of football, now you see the UFL sprouting out onto the scene. So always cool to stay into the game if you can. I mean, if you're blessed, why not? Why not?
Right.
Even those other leagues are great feeder leagues, great secondary leagues that still help keep the NFL alive, because the NFL, more football is a good thing for the NFL too.
Like NFL Europe is gone, but I wish that they would kind of tie in that UFL into the NFL in some way, shape, or form if they could, for those guys that are those fringe guys like that man 54. That 54th man that just needs to go get some more film, go get some more work, and have a chance the next year to get back into camp. And some of those guys are doing that. And I just think that, you look at it, you got the G League in basketball, you got minor league baseball, hockey has it. And I think the NFL just needs to find a way to do it as well. That could be affordable for everybody to do it, profitable for the owners to do it, and find a way to make it happen. And I think it could be a good thing.
And if the NFL puts their stamp on anything, it will get more eyes, it will get more viewership, even if it's not, quote, the NFL, it will still get.
Yeah, we know it's not going to be the same product. And I think that's the biggest mistake so many football fans make. It was like, man, I tried to watch that game, and it just, it's not the NFL. Well, duh. Those are the 53 best people on the roster for a reason. We understand that. Like, this the guy that is gonna run down on special teams on Sundays, and if somebody get tired pulling hamstrings, gonna get in, run some routes, catch some balls. You're like, God damn, this dude can catch. But you didn't know that because you didn't watch him in the UFL. But he did the same thing.
Yeah, no, I think I'm in agreement with that. Everyone I talk to as well thinks that would be a great idea. Feeder league is a need for the NFL. Every other league has it. AHL, ECHL, and hockey, as you said, G League and basketball, minors and baseball. Cats, what say you on the topics of discussion? Any last fun questions for our guy, Big Game James?
Well, I agree 100%. A feeder league would be nice. It is the only one of the four major sports that doesn't. Yeah, I do have a question. Thoughts on the tush push? Should they have banned it? Would you, if you were playing today, would you have an issue with it, or you say, hey, best we just stop it? Well, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh man, I love that question. Shout out to my man Ricky T and Dieter for the Philadelphia Eagles podcast, Two Birds, One Show. They were talking all this trash about the tush push, and I said, well, if any team in the NFL wants to know how to stop the tush push, they just need to call it Vita Vea and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's a tough play, and you used to have the rule with no pushing to help forward progress, so it was a fine line. The vote missed by 2. They needed 2 more votes for it to pass to get it banned. I'm glad it didn't get banned. At some point in time, low man wins. Defensive line, you got to get lower than offensive line. Create a pile, stop it. It sucks, but at the same time, it's kind of become that Philly staple to where it doesn't bother me, because it's not like, well, you keep running the tush push and guys keep tearing ACLs and messing shoulders up. I haven't seen a lot of injuries from it. So to me, as long as there hadn't been any injuries from, the momentum, the push, and the force behind the play, hey, run it till somebody stop it. That's kind of the old school mindset. Like, hey, I'm gonna run it till somebody stop it. If you stop it, then it won't be a thing anymore.
Right, and like you mentioned, yeah, the Bucs have had success against that play. They have, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, it looked like at the meetings, almost people were trying to find like an injury that happened off the tush push, and you just couldn't find anything, because seemingly none have happened. I mean, almost won in the Super Bowl, but almost doesn't count unless it's in hand grenades and horseshoes. Bucks by 30, Zach. Any last one for you, my friend, that you thought of before we get out of here with our guy, Big Game James, Bucks D Lyman James Cannida?
No, I just want to thank you for your time, sir. Appreciate you coming on and sharing some of your knowledge with us.
Man, I appreciate it. Y'all let me come on here and run my mouth. Sometimes y'all gotta tell me to be quiet, so I'll quit talking sometimes. But hey, man, thanks so much for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Hey,
Thanks,
we love
Glenn.
having you on, Cats. Any last thoughts, words?
Same, man. Really appreciate you joining. I enjoyed watching you play. We really enjoyed having you on here, bringing some knowledge.
And I'm waiting to hear back. But Simeon Rice going into the Ring of Honor November 30th against the Arizona Cardinals.
Yep.
I'm more than likely going to be in town for that game. So
Excellent.
Wow, if you are in town for that game, and that'd be awesome. Seeing you up there, and you'd be in the right place. Simeon, watching his emotional, that was awesome, man. His presser when he found out he was being inducted, first of all, long overdue. Second of all, that'd be awesome if our guy James Cannida, and well deserved, would be in attendance there. That's against Arizona, so that hits home for Simeon too. I think you've seen John Gruden in the unboxing video. He pulled out the Arizona Simeon jersey. He made sure it was special. But James, if somehow we're there, man, I'd love to catch some of your knowledge up in Tampa, or down in Tampa, I should say. I'm in Chicago, so down in Tampa.
Okay, I'll let you. I'll let you know if I'm there or whatever. But they said, they just emailed me and said they're gonna have some information coming out over the next couple of weeks about what the plan is. Because normally, when guys go into the Ring of Honor, our coaches, if you were on that team or on that when that staff or that player was there, they send invites to you and the family to come out. And so I told my wife, I said, hey, say the date. I know it's your birthday weekend, but we might be spending it in Tampa, or I can go by myself. Hell, we've been married 25 years. It's okay if I go by myself. It'll be okay.
Yeah, I think you got some leash there, but hey, that's a hell of a birthday present too, right? You want to go to Tampa and hang with some of the OGs. But James, any last words or thoughts from you, my man? Again, plug your work, where people could find it, and just an update on anything you want, whether it's family, the podcast, or anything like that, brother.
And man, I appreciate you guys having me on. You can find me. I got Games Pewter Perspective on YouTube as a channel. Big Game Sports and Entertainment Network, where sports and entertainment collide. That's a home of Big Game Sports Buzz. Two birds, one show. Social media is at JCan97 is my X handle, or at BGSE Network. Instagram is James Cannida, and same with Facebook. Hit me up. If it's something that you're thinking about, something you want to talk about, you got a question about something you see in the game, inbox me. I'll reply to you. Message. You got a show. Want somebody to come on and talk football? I halfway know what I'm talking about, so I'll come on there and fake it till I make it, man.
Hey, don't sell yourself short, brother. And by the way, Zach and I, Bucks by 30, we're still on a quest, James. We're going to track down there's a Cannida jersey in the wild. We're going to get it back home into your hands where it belongs. We're going to make a promise. I've been searching since we had you on last. The damn thing disappeared. It was up, and then it went away. Oh, there you do got. Is that new? Because I don't think you had one last time, right?
No, I've had that, but I want that Nike color splash, that digital one, that red digital. I want that one. I kind of want that. But that jersey there, shout out to my man Darren Kearns. That was from my rookie year. So it was like the trend of Nike. We had just signed with Adidas. That year in 98, you had Nike, Adidas, and Reebok. So the team could pick who they wanted as their team rep at the time. So it wasn't just a league thing yet. And so we had Adidas. And so that 98 season, while they're making that transition, that we wore Wilson jerseys that preseason. And I still never get this. Warren Sapp say, hey, rookies, it's the last game of the preseason. You don't know if you're going to make it or not. If I was you, I would steal my jersey. That jersey there, I balled it up. I put it in my backpack, soaking wet, stinky, sweaty, took it home, washed it, ended up making the team. So, like, my mom and everybody else has like the real authentic like Adidas jerseys and everything else. I got the beat up Wilson preseason jersey hanging up on my wall because that's the one I took, and I gave my other one to one of my teammates from Nevada who has a game room of everybody that made it to the NFL off our football team. So I gave him my white one that's a real Adidas jersey, man. So yeah, that's kind of how that Wilson jersey got up on my wall right there.
That's awesome, man. That's incredible. Really cool story. Yeah. Hey, when you're a rookie, you never know. You got to bring that sucker home, right? And I do hear about it from Bucs players of the past couple of years that they wish they had a jersey. Actually, Anthony Gator, friend of the program, currently a coach for Florida International. He was a defensive back for the Bucs from 2011 to 2014. He actually didn't get any of his Bucs jerseys when he left the team. You know, he has his Cannida Football League jerseys, his Dolphins, his Saints, but Buccaneers, he regrets it, man. He says, I wish I would have took one.
And the Bucs need to do a better job because Frank Middleton, and he played with one of my buddies named Chad Slaughter, who played with the Jets, and he played with the Raiders as well. And even Buffalo, some of my friends, but all these other teams send alumni gift boxes every year. Doesn't matter what it is. All the new stuff that they get, they send it to all their former players because you get a plethora of it from Nike anyway. All you got to do is request the sizes and send it. So these guys get gear all the time, and it drives me crazy that the Buccaneers don't send anything out to anybody ever. Not a jersey, not a T-shirt, not a nothing. But you send John Gruden a box. Send the players a box, man. Send the players a box. They don't have to be a lot. You give me 2 shirts and 1 pair of shorts. I'm cool. I'm in Texas. I want to talk. I talk track. I'm in Dallas country. And trust me, I put my Buccaneers hats on, my shirts on all the time. And I'm sick of going to Fanatics buying all my own stuff. Send me something to wear and represent, man. Besides the shirt that I get when I go back for the Ring of Honor every time. Stay white polo. Give me a shirt, damn it.
And for your dessert, it's not like you played 4 years for the team or anything like that.
Right.
No, very well deserved. But that's a great point. I mean, come on, no offense. What is it to the Bucs to do something simple? Send a letter out. Do you want to receive yearly merch? If you check yes, then to all the veterans who checked yes, simply send a couple hats, a couple shirts. Doesn't have to be a Gruden, but I mean, by the way, that guy's got like hundreds of boxes.
He's got a million boxes.
Closet, anyways.
He
They're
got
funny.
a damn gift box from the University of Nevada. If you watch his, I was like, what the hell? Jeff Choate, y'all gonna? I'm in the goddamn Schools Hall of Fame. Y'all ain't sent me a box. Y'all sent John Gruden a box just because he talked about Colin Kaepernick in the pistol offense and Chris Alt. This is some bull right here, man.
No, now that is bullshit too. We got a Nevada Hall of Famer on our hands. Poor guy can't even get a box here. John Gruden probably gives his shirts to the equipment guys backstage or something.
Right.
You know, he's got so much merch, you simply can't wear
Right,
all of
can't
that.
wear it all at all.
So, hey, you know, Zach, we might have to nudge the Bucs equipment guy and say, hey, get some merch out to the alumni, damn it. You know,
Absolutely. But, you know, you got to figure that these teams also charge their players to keep those jerseys. So it's, you know, I don't think they want to give too much stuff away.
yeah,
It's
you
a
know,
tax write-off. Just go here, send it to everybody. It's a tax write-off. Write it off. You know what I'm saying? Put it next to your charity stuff that you do every year. You good to go.
exactly. And hey, who better deserve? The alumni do deserve it because, you know, it's hard. It's hard to play in the league. It's hard to maintain after the league. So, James and other Buccaneers, let's get a merch, damn it, whether it's college or NFL. But James, we love you. We love having you on, my man. It is great. The first time was great. This time was great as well, brother. So we're gonna link all your stuff in the YouTube, in the Apple, Spotify, so people can keep up with you. And hey, I'm already gonna hop off of here and catch up with some of your latest work, my friend. That's for sure.
I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that, man. You guys have a great night and God bless.
Yeah,
Thank
sorry
you.
for keeping you so long. God bless you. We'll have to send that overtime check in the mail, all right?
We're good. We're good.
The Legends of the Fall Tour kicked off great. James Cannida, don't forget, next Wednesday, Brad Johnson joins the program. That was awesome, Zach and Katz. Thanks, fellas, for joining. Joey and J-Lo and James Cannida. Bucs Colts, Washington, D lineman fellas. On the other side, Katz